Hey guys, it's the Kaiser Phoenix video blog for the second week of November. And boy am I tired right now. I'm actually in between shifts, in between an overnight shift and some other shift that I was foolish enough to agree to at the end of today. It's money though, so it'll pay for the thing I just bought. This week was fairly busy. I thought I wasn't going to be busy at all, and I guess work just decided, hey, let's make you do stuff, and I'm okay with that. But like I said, I'm really tired right now. This was also a week where I invested my time in some independent wrestling, and if you're a fan of wrestling, now would be the time to listen. If you're not a fan of wrestling, now would be the time to click on something else. No, wait, don't. It'll be kind of interesting. Anyway, there's a couple independent wrestling companies that do pay-per-views and house shows and all those things, and they are sort of getting around to the rest of the country, whereas the big WWE is still the behemoth, and TNA down in Florida is the number 2 guy, I guess, if there had to be a number 2 guy. Anyway, at the beginning of the week, I went to a live event for a company called Ring of Honor, which is typically a company that takes itself a little more seriously than the WWE. You won't necessarily find someone, well, you know what? Maybe it doesn't take itself all that seriously. I was trying to think of an example, but they do have the world's tiniest lumberjack, so how serious can it be? The wrestling, I guess, is more technically sound, or whatever. It's a different mood, and I've never been to a live wrestling event before, so it was definitely interesting. I was, first of all, surprised with the amount of people that were there. I came in a little late because I was getting off of work, bought my ticket, and I was generally surprised how many people were there. I didn't know how many people were interested in this Ring of Honor thing, and there were definitely several hundred people. The first wrestler I saw was Jay Briscoe, and I don't know how you would describe Jay Briscoe to the people that don't know who he is, but he's a legitimate chicken farmer from Delaware, I think, that decided to be a wrestler. He's cooler than that sounds, but he's a legitimate chicken farmer, and he's kind of crazy. Like, legitimately a little nuts. You should see his brother. He's even worse. Anyway, first wrestler I saw was him, and he looked really big. Like, you used to seeing these people on your TV or computer screen, and you know, they might be 200 pounds. It doesn't look all that big there, but I'm only 150. That's 50 pounds more than me on someone my height. That's a big dude, or shorter. That is a big dude. All these wrestlers were massive individuals. If they were massive, they were ripped. So, I mean, it was strange to see that many athletic people in real life. Definitely different seeing them live. Also, every time anyone hit the ring, it sounded like, I don't know if you want to call it a gunshot, because I don't exactly hear gunshots, but like a gunshot or a piece of metal being whacked with the human body, I guess. It sounded like it was very painful to take a body slam or jump off the top rope or anything like that. As opposed for the wrestling itself, I mean, it was pretty good. Nothing amazing. I mean, I haven't followed ROH that closely, so I don't know if that prevented me from getting invested in it as much, but it was a house show, and it certainly felt like they were holding back a little bit at times, especially for a company that's known for not holding back. But if you didn't hold back every show, you'd be dead. So, my favorite part of the night was probably the El Generico match. And again, El Generico is difficult to describe for someone who doesn't know what he is, but he's essentially a generic Mexican wrestler from Canada. So he's very white, pretends to speak only Spanish, and his song is the Ole, 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 Ole chant from soccer. So he's very fun to watch. He's flying around all over the ring. He's like doing a move and going, hey, and everybody goes, hey. It was just sort of that live audience interaction was funny. His opponent was a dude that nobody really liked called Mike Bennett, and I don't know if his shtick is that nobody really likes him. Like, legitimately hates him. Like, oh, you're a bad guy. It's like, get out of the ring, hate. But he's off in the corner near where I am on the floor, beating down on El Generico. And he turns to the crowd and says, who sucks now? And like me and 18 to 20 other people in my section just simultaneously point to him and go, you do! Which was amusing. Because like, I didn't know if that's a thing that happens in ROH, but it was like, oh, and we all had the same thought at the same time. I also like this guy named Kenny King. I never really liked him all that much on TV, but seeing him live was pretty cool. I don't know if it's just his attitude made more sense, like in person, but I don't know. It was interesting. The wrestling crowd is still a very weird one to be around because there are stigmas about wrestling fans, about being unintelligent or hairy or tattooed filled or fat. And I don't know about any of those other things, but good lord, the fattest people I have ever seen have been at wrestling events, whether it's watching it on pay-per-view or watching it live. Holy crap, I don't know what is going on there. What I saw today was an internet pay-per-view, which I've never ordered over the internet, but internet pay-per-view for a group called Chikara based out of Philadelphia. And I would describe them as basically, if wrestling was a cartoon, that would be it. A lot of the people are rather small. A lot of them look like I could wrestle with them, with the size they are. I don't mean to offend them, but obviously I am very skinny, but they were not much bigger than me, at least they're on the video. Also very athletic, flying around, but a lot of them have masks. It's sort of like a hybrid of American wrestling and Mexican wrestling, even a little bit of Japanese wrestling. But a lot of the guys had masks on, and so you're literally watching people that are sort of pretending to be ants, I guess. That's their shtick. They got ant masks and things like that, fighting, which is interesting. But best match was definitely the main event. It was a guy named Eddie Kingston who was... I saw a video of him, and the audience really wanted him to win. This was like the first time they were crowning a champion. It was him versus the guy that I would say is the kind of the founder, boss of the company a little bit. I would call him that, but the boss was definitely the bad guy, and the good guy won in the end, and everyone was happy. So, again, it was nothing... nothing I would consider amazing, but it was interesting to see and support independent wrestling, because sometimes you get tired of the big guys, and it's nice to throw a little money that way, I suppose. This was their first internet pay-per-view, so I guess I felt some sort of responsibility to support them and help them out, if that makes any sense. Also on this pay-per-view, there was a guy named Gregory Iron, who we may or may not have heard about, but he's a wrestler with cerebral palsy. He doesn't have too much... I don't know how much function he has of his right arm, but it clearly doesn't have nearly the muscle mass of his left, or even the shape, I would say. But he has cerebral palsy, and he still wrestles, and he's kind of a, I don't know if you'd call him a hero or an example of someone definitely an example of someone overcoming adversity, and it's sort of a grassroots campaign to get him into the Royal Rumble, which might actually be in St. Louis now that I think about it. I really hope it is. Anyway. There's a petition grassroots movement to get him at the WWE's Royal Rumble, which would be cool to see him as a random guest, whatever. It wouldn't be the first wrestler in that vein, I guess, that's been on the WWE. At one point, I think there was a man that only had one leg. That makes it hard to wrestle. Other things that are going on this week in the world that I'm thinking of. It's going to be Black Friday soon. I did book the hotel for the wedding. I'm going to my friend's wedding over New Year's, and I booked the hotel, so all that stuff is arranged. I guess I need to talk to one other person about my travel arrangements. And I completed my first query letter of this round. Query letter being something that's going to try and get an agent to represent me, or at least take an interest in me, hopefully leading to representation for my book. Will I think she be interested in anything else I have because of the cover letter? I think I like my cover letter. I haven't sent it out yet. I'm leaving it a couple days to stew in my head before I mess with it again. But I don't know, just the odds, you know? Like, when I look at this person's client list, I don't see many men. Like, at all. In fact, I don't see really much of the type of fantasy I am writing. But maybe I've just written something that's just not represented well in mainstream literature anymore. I don't know. I'm like looking around seeing all these things like we'll see. I'm going to send it to them probably in the next week after I work on a couple of things. So I'm officially getting into that routine of writing the query letters and sending them out and whatnot. And I think that's all I'm going to talk about for this week, because we're already pushing 10 minutes. If you have any stories about your personal experiences in wrestling, because I know some of you are wrestling fans, your experiences in writing, which is a weird thing to balance out. Maybe you've written... Actually, I know one of you said he's written like 20 books or something. I want to know if you tried publishing any of those things. Because if you have, I had some advice would be nice. And if you haven't, why haven't you? Maybe you should try. Maybe you might be the next best thing since sliced bread number 2. Some of you will get that. I'll see you next time.